Welcome back, everybody, to the Fandalorian Club here on Apocalypse Movies. Thank you so much for joining us here on a Wednesday evening as we are into episode 5 of The Bad Batch. We are 5 episodes in now, only our second episode of the Fandalorian Club. Look at us, 2 weeks in a row, people. We're doing it right. We're doing it right here. Very, very cool episode to talk about today. I can guarantee that it will not go as long as it usually does. But that does not mean that we're not excited to talk about this episode. We're very excited to talk about this episode. A lot of cool things happened in this episode. And per usual, I am doing it with my partner in crime here, Mr. Brian Avellino, the Grand Admiral Sino himself. How you doing, man?
Good. Just gotta pop in the earbuds because I remember that I'm on a echo streak. So yeah, just in time. I was like, shit, he's gonna pass it. I put these on. Doing good.
Brian, do me a favor when I'm talking next time. Unplug or something with your microphone. It's like cutting in and out. So I can talk here for a sec while you do it, but it's kind of like chirping back and forth a little bit. So, no, look, hey, we episode 5 here of the Bad Batch. We don't have like a ton to talk about. The episode was great, and there's so many cool moments in the episode, and obviously connections to stuff going on outside of Star Wars, but also kind of in Star Wars. But it wasn't a gigantic episode when it comes to the Bad Batch and the main storyline. It was pretty much about getting the crew back together, meeting a new character that we got introduced to in the first episode, but also possibly teasing a potential future for these characters. So very interested. Sounds a little bit better over there, Brian.
It changed. Now you sound like crap in my ears, and if this I don't
really
know. Yeah,
you do sound better.
It probably is on my end. Now for me, you sound like you're in a tunnel now, but whatever.
Love it. Love to hear it.
Hopefully it's me and not everyone.
All right, Brian, give me your reaction, quick little summary. You just finished it about 10 minutes ago, so your reaction to this episode.
Not even. 5 episodes. 2 of them have been treasure hunting. I'm assuming maybe this is their future career at this point.
That's what I hinted at, yeah.
Otherwise, why are we doing so many treasure hunting episodes?
Well, I mean, look when you look at the galaxy as a whole right now, what can you do outside of be a mercenary / bounty hunter, work for the Empire, or possibly treasure hunt, like stuff that was left behind from civilizations or worlds that were possibly destroyed or deserted. In this case, deserted or maybe thousands of years ago destroyed, because we did learn that it takes him to a destination that is very, very, very old. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it quickly up top that could the Bad Batch be archaeologists, I'll say. Just for the sake of
Dr. Aphra.
I mean, that'd be incredible, but just for the sake of because she's very young at this point. Just for the sake of the Indiana Jones comparisons, which are going to come up, could the Bad Batch turn into some good old fashioned archaeologists?
I mean, this is literally this. Actually, to be completely honest, over half of the episodes have been. Technically, the first 2 are.
They were pretty much one big episode, but yes.
Yeah. So, and then you have this one. So, I mean, over half of the episodes so far have been about like treasure hunting. So, I mean, the other one didn't even involve the main group. So possible hint of a future. I mean,
if that is the case,
sense.
I need the show's name to be turned from the Bad Batch to Galaxy Treasure in light of National Treasure, but just change it to Galaxy Treasure. I would really appreciate
Galactic Treasure.
Galactic hunting. Galactic
Treasure Hunters.
Galactic treasure hunting. Yeah, that's a good one.
Like,
Well, look, it's a super interesting character or storyline, I should say, not character. I was kind of thinking of the story and Wanda Sykes' character at the same time. Um, the episode started off really cool, and in Wrecker and Omega kind of, just um, going through a junkyard looking for some stuff, and Omega comes across a piece, which ends up being some type of item and map, and it leads them to a destination that eventually turns into what could have been a massacre. But we see a really cool, kind of like, and I know, Alex and Molly did it earlier on their show because I was watching, and there's been comparisons all over the internet today of Last Crusade and getting the chalice at the end with Indy and his father, and the booby traps and the tunnels, and it's very much an Indiana Jones homage in the episode, among many other things. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it was a lot of fun and interesting, and you get to see characters in different situations. We questioned how long these characters could fight the Empire, and how many times could we see that storyline over and over and over again. As much as this episode will 100% for the moment be considered a filler, I think it was very nice to. They're not going to be fighting the Empire every episode. They're not. Like, we're getting 16 episodes or 14. I forget which one it is, but they're not going to be for 14 or 16 episodes fighting Crosshairs, Rampart, the Empire, because they are pretty much, in a way, hired bounty hunters, or you can say hired treasure hunters for Sid, and they just happened to come across something on their own this time and wanted to kind of check it out, go on an adventure, and it turned into something. Could have turned into something really cool, but ended up being kind of a little crazy there with the giant mechanical Star Wars Godzilla coming out of the earth.
Someone played Horizon New Dawn, the video game. And
is that what it looked like?
I'm literally about to wait. What do I put it in? Upload it to? Overlay video clips or background?
Well, you could just share the screen. So we're still on screen technically.
Oh, technically.
Yeah, Andy, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, definitely 100% good call. Great call with Milo and the crew. There's a lot of connections to many. Oh wow, I'm seeing it here in the background. Very interesting.
It's almost identical. Like,
I mean, yeah, I could see the similarities here with the body, especially.
Yeah.
Not so much the head, but definitely the body shape.
Yeah, no, when I saw that, I went, the hell? Like, I was like, I played that game. What's going on here? But
no, I mean, look, I thought it was cool. Like, you obviously don't expect or know what to expect when they're kind of going on this journey. Are they gonna come across like treasure? Are they gonna come across some type of artifact? And clearly, it was kind of an artifact in a large sense. But again, I love seeing the characters in this type of setting. It's just different, and the excitement around Omega, like, oh my god, let's go, like, this is so cool, and then kind of having to figure out the puzzle, and again, Hunter falling through the floor, like, very Indiana Jones. We see it in a lot of mystery, like we saw it in something like Tomb Raider, and there's a lot of that type of stuff that has that, but obviously India is the one that you point to. I wouldn't mind seeing the Batch as hunters. I won't lie. I would not mind seeing them as a bunch of treasure hunters.
Yeah, it's funny because, not to divert from the treasure, but this episode was the first time that when I was watching it, I really I thought to myself, Omega is literally becoming like a little bit of each of them. Like,
100%. She's taking the most like prominent parts of each of them.
Yes, and she's becoming a literal mix of all of them. Like, there were a couple times where I was like, "Oh, that's a very Hunter trait. Oh, that's very that's a Wrecker trait." Like, there were multiple times this episode where I thought, like, "Oh, she's acting just like that one," And I was like, okay, she's definitely becoming little bits of each of them throughout this whole entire series. So
I think
I
that's the
kind of like,
point.
I think it is too. And I kind of actually dug it. Like I was kind of like it gave me kind of like, I don't want to say an appreciation of Omega, but like kind of like I was like kind of like digging her a little bit more than just being like the kid that always gets in the way or messes something up. Like she's actually like, I don't want to say like she's actually contributing, but like she's actually kind of like blending in and flowing with them, like if she's just one of them and not just like this little kid. Because today this episode she definitely like, it felt like she was holding her own and stuff. So yeah, I actually I think she did really well in this episode as far as like being a part of the team and stuff. And
No, I mean it's definitely natural for a young, an adolescent or a teenager to pick up on the adults that they're around. Obviously, like kids, you kind of pick up on traits in your parents, and sometimes you're more like your father, sometimes you're more like your mother, sometimes you're a mix. There's also rare cases where you're like neither of them. But so for her to be around five of or four of them all the time, every day, most of the time, it only makes sense to now see kind of things coming through as she's getting older, and her doing things like Hunter, or her being a little tech savvy like Tech, or having a little bit more of a um you know
I mean,
clear sense
she's
of
kind of a snipe shooter with that bow and
with the
arrow
arrow.
thing on
Yeah, even
Crosshair.
a
So
little bit
it's
of
like,
Crosshair. Yeah. She's
yeah.
definitely picking up, and I think as the season goes on and we see the storyline kind of fleshed out a little bit more, because at some point we're going to get to what the overall story of this season is going to be about, right? Because we're not there. Like, we're not even close to being there. We had
Mhm.
obviously a much more clear path last season, because in the first episode or first two episodes, all hell broke loose. Like, the Empire took over, the Republic fell. That happened almost immediately. So it's taking a little bit more time this season, but I think that's okay, because these characters, again, aren't fighting the Empire every second of every day. They're trying to hide and kind of make a living for themselves. And we want to see those adventures, not just to hear about those adventures. So it makes sense to take the time to do an episode like last week, where we saw the riot racing, or this week where they kind of do their own thing and go on a little bit of a scavenging hunt, if you will.
Mhm.
We're going to get to the Crosshair and the Rampart and all that stuff, but this is only episode 5 of 14/16. So we have a long way to go. But I do think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, Omega will probably be the focus outside of the whole Crosshair versus Batch. I do think that she's the focal point of whatever is going to be happening, because we saw the end of
Yeah.
last season, the cloning facility. We have yet to go there, right?
Yeah.
Cantus, we have not gone there yet this season. It was the big cliffhanger at the end of season 1, and Omega is obviously a clone. So it's going to be interesting. But for the time being, like, I am enjoying seeing these side quests, and it's very much like a video game where,
Mhm.
you have your main storyline, but every so often you'll go off on like a side mission. And in video games, maybe that side mission is to learn a new technique or a new power or something, but you're still going off on side missions. So I do enjoy kind of getting these little adventures and seeing these characters in different scenarios and settings. And who knows, maybe it'll help them whenever they too come cross paths with Crosshair and the Empire again.
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely going to be more like, if whenever they do come across the Empire, like she's not going to just be like the one they're protecting. Like she's probably going to be out there like taking people out or
She has a
doing
helmet. She has a weapon. She's
something.
just like the rest of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, do we expect every single episode to be Empire related, pushing a story? No, we're
It
not
would be
dumb
8 to
at
10
this point.
episodes if that was the case.
Yeah, 100%. And not to mention, like, I mean, look at Clone Wars. There's a lot of Clone Wars where there were episodes you're like, what is the point of this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is clearly just like, here's another episode. So, but it didn't, I will say to this one's credit, it didn't feel like, all right, what are we doing? Like, why is this, like, what was the purpose of this? Like, it was a decent little episode like that. You could just kind of like, I mean, you could literally probably almost even just show this to anyone and just be like, they're treasure hunters. Like, you don't really you don't need to know anything to watch this episode. If you were just like, if you want to know more, if you want to know what is going on, like, or just you're curious, like, here's an episode. Like, there's literally no like crazy plot or anything. It's just, yes, in the sense of filler, but not in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
No, I mean,
hunting though does seem to be playing a part, though.
No, yeah, for sure, and I think we've mentioned something like filler a couple times. In no way am I think either of us are saying that this is some type of filler episode. I think that this episode will come back in some capacity. Obviously, we got the ending there where Wanda Sykes' character, I'm forgetting her name. I actually have her name pulled up. Is it Fee? Fee.
Yeah.
She kind of has this thing that she's going after. Do the batch go with her? It's very, very curious. Omega may have the bug for hunting per se. I liked her character as well. I enjoyed the different opinions and perspectives that character had. Obviously coming from a very different side of things, the archaeological treasure hunting side of it all. How she's, this is fun. This is where the fun begins, et cetera, et cetera. So,
excuse me, this is where the fun begins.
Sorry, that's not what I meant to say. That's the other Star Wars character. Relax, it's all the same.
There is only one person.
Everyone can get off their flipping nerd porch. Good Jesus. But no, I don't think this episode was any type of filler. I know that there's going to be people online saying that. But I do think that it was very cool to see these characters in different scenarios and doing different things, right? And
there's a reason they keep doing treasure hunting.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just interested in where it goes.
Andy, who says this is where the fun began? Other than Anakin, Ahsoka.
Probably Obi-Wan. No, probably Obi-Wan. I think, or maybe it is Ahsoka. It's one or the other.
I feel like if Anakin said it, then I bet you Ahsoka is the other one that says.
Or he got it from Obi-Wan. Anakin and Han, yes.
When does Han say it?
Yes, Han does say it. Thank you, Andy.
I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, he does say it. Okay, yeah, you're right. It's
in the first movie, Brian.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, look, outside of that, I think it's hard to say where we go next. Obviously, there was no end tag.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Crosshair next episode.
I think there's a good chance that we see Crosshair next episode. We haven't seen him in 2 episodes. Just quickly, Brian, what did you think of Wanda Sykes' character, Fee Genoa? If I'm saying her last name correctly, but I believe it's Fee.
I think that she will clearly have some point to being there.
She wasn't as mischievous as I expected her to be.
Maybe not in this moment. I mean, she definitely is your typical. I mean, would you consider her a smuggler? But she gives off that Han, where it's like, I did this and blah 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 blah.
Maybe the personality, but I think she just kind of can be described as like a relic hunter, treasure hunter.
Well, no, I meant more personality, where it was just kind of where it's how a lot of the smugglers tend to be they're Hondo's I did this and da 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 da, and then Han's oh, I did this and da 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 da.
She's a talker.
yeah, the smuggler type people seem to be the ones that are the chatty and over dramatizing what they're
Yeah.
actually doing. So I think she might have, there might be some point to her as far as maybe like an arc. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just throwing things to the wall. Maybe when what's her face betrays them or something, like she
Sid.
helps them out. So yeah, Sid does something. Maybe she helps them out, or maybe she sells them out and Sid. I don't know. It's just there. She's not gonna just constantly be there just to be like, go do treasure hunting
Yeah.
for an episode. So I think there will be a slight purpose to her that we haven't really seen yet. But she's been great so far. I liked her much better this episode than the other one.
Well, we barely even met her though. Like,
I know, but I'm saying it in comparison. Like, I enjoyed her more in this one than I did the other
yeah.
one. The other one, I was just like, there's always one of these characters. But in this one, she actually kind of like had substance other than just doing that.
Yeah, and maybe she kind of does play like that Hondo role to the batch. Very
Yeah.
much like Hondo did. We saw him pop up randomly in Clone Wars, but then we saw him also be very prominent for the Ghost Crew in Rebels, where he kind of just popped up and was used, and
Yeah. There's
he wasn't
always
as
one of those types of characters.
very much. I would love to see her adventure though to hunting down that relic. I hope that's an episode,
That'd be
or
cool.
maybe it's just
I need to
I think
figure it out.
an episode with her and Omega like doing that would be really cool. I don't know if the whole crew has to go, but I would like to see that. But yeah, I'm interested in where her story goes, how involved she is, and um,
Or maybe, I just thought of maybe she knows of something that they're going to eventually need.
yeah, possibly. Very, very.
Like,
There's good chance.
that
Well, and
could be.
she could also be a very good resource. Whether she if the Empire hunts them down, or if Sid does eventually kind of turn on them, she could be a good resource for them as like an exit of
Yeah.
having a friend in the galaxy to help them, which very
Yeah.
much is again a Hondo type of thing. Because the batch outside of Sid, they don't have a lot of
They have no
not so
one.
much friends, but acquaintances. They don't have acquaintances in the galaxy. They have
They
Rex,
don't want.
obviously, which Rex is going to come into play, but
Yeah.
like outside of that, there's nobody. And so maybe this character is kind of set up to be that person where if they need to make a call, they can make a call. And I'm down for it because I think she fits in very well with them. She's very interesting and different. And I think bringing a woman in for Omega is obviously a good thing, right? It's that kind of motherly thing.
Hopefully.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying so much, but like
Just being
it
around a
is
few
just
presence.
being
Yeah.
around, like, because Omega's around four dudes constantly, and Sid isn't the greatest of role models. So having Fee there is a good thing for more reasons than just an out for the batch. It's also good for Omega. She clearly took a liking to her. So
Yeah.
that could definitely come back around for sure. All right, Brian, any final thoughts on this episode or kind of what you hope to see next before we wrap it up today?
No, just curious to see what the next one. I mean, I will say one thing about this show: you never really know what you're going to get in the next episode. That's for sure. So it leaves you kind of curious about what is next. Like, because you don't get a little tease or anything. Like, I mean, you had freaking the Crosshair episodes where you're getting gut punched a little bit, and then you jump to racing, and then this week is treasure hunting. So it's like you never really know. So it's kind of in that sense, it's kind of cool that you kind of like go into it. You have no freaking idea what you're gonna get. So like,
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. Like next week, it's like who knows? Maybe it's a super important episode for all you know. So
yeah, I'm definitely excited to kind of see where it goes because it is kind of a mysterious path at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen. I do like
I forgot about
consistencies.
Tantus until you said it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When are we going to go there? I mean, it's obviously going to be a part of the season, but just when is the question? Maybe they're just kind of, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully, we do get into that. We're not trying to rush it or anything, but we do want to see that stuff play out. So hopefully we get into it very, very soon. But for now, that's going to wrap up our discussion today on the Bad Batch episode 5. Again, not a lot to talk about with this one. Just a fun little episode to kind of break down, talk about character-wise and possibly what it could set up in the future. So for Brian and myself, this is the Fandalorian Club. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Everything Apocalypse movies. We are pumping out content like crazy. 2023 has been really good so far. Let's see. We have Apocalypse Now on Tuesdays. I'm still sick from it. Tuesdays at 7, Apocalypse Now, our live show every Tuesday. Yesterday, we discussed Oscars. We did Tron. We played a movie game, which was a lot of fun. Tomorrow, our next episode of The Casting Table comes out, where we casted Zatanna. That comes out tomorrow morning. And then Sunday nights, after The Last of Us, you can check out Gio and Keith's review. They go live right after the episode to break down the episode. That is live on the channel. Everything gets uploaded to audio. So if you are just an audio person, go and follow our podcast, Anchor, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you can find a podcast. All of our episodes are uploaded on there. So yeah, I think I covered everything. Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. The links are in the description, guys. Like, they're all down there. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate you all. Thank you for always stopping by talking Star Wars with us. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.